What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Chop and Brew. I'm Chip Walton. I'm joined by three members, upstanding members, and outstanding members of the Nordeast Brewers Alliance. From my right to left, we got
Chad,
Aaron,
Carl.
sounds like Homer's best friends or something. We're in Northeast Minneapolis in the Northeast
East Side Neighborhood Services.
East Side Neighborhood Services.
Yeah.
Aaron hooked up a conference room. The reason we're doing this, and you guys may know the NBA guys from the Barrel episode way back when. I can't remember what episode that was. It was way
7.
Way
Roll out
early.
the barrels.
So what we've got here today is we're going to do a tasting of beers all brewed with the Barke Vienna Malt. Over the summer, BSG HandCraft was nice enough to donate a fairly substantial amount of Barke Vienna, and I asked Aaron if he would distribute it among the club members, the understanding being that they would bring back kind of a nice diverse array of beers beyond just Oktoberfests that we could taste, and maybe kind of dig into what this malt kind of tastes like. It's kind of, to me, when I say it and drink beers with it, I think fall. I think kind of winter. Maybe we'll break some of that stereotype. But would you guys think that same thing? Does you get that vibe when you hear Vienna?
Sure. Toasty, kind of malty flavors remind me of fall, definitely. Particularly the beers that go with them, Oktoberfest being the primary example.
Yeah, so I'm glad to see that we don't have like 6 Oktoberfests. But let's dig in. If you want to kind of curate the ones that are Oktoberfesty, we can do that. Or actually, maybe we should start with Chad's, because what Chad has is the closest thing to 100% beer with Vienna. Not quite 100, right, though?
yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah, it's a Vienna Lager with 20 pounds. It's a 10-gallon batch, 20 pounds of Barke Vienna Malt, and then a little bit, half a pound of Melanoiden, a quarter pound of black malt, and a quarter pound of Carafon. And it's just hopped with Hallertauer, 2 ounces at 60 minutes, and 10 ounces, or 1 ounce at 10 minutes. The yeast is that Hoflager 3470 dry.
What do you think of it? You said it's fairly young.
It's really young. It's 19 days since brew day, and I kegged it last Thursday, so it was 2 weeks fermenting and then 5 days, I suppose, in a keg. But I actually think it came out pretty good. I don't think it has any fermentation issues. At least it's a little bit. It's fairly sweet. I don't know if that's just. I think that's just the malt flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is just a Vienna malt
Yep, I think it is the
beer.
Vienna malt that gives it some body and some sweetness.
Yeah.
The quick description of it is produced from a quality 2-row spring barley Barke. So it is a 2-row that's kilned into being a Vienna. Full-bodied, golden-colored, smooth-tasting, imparts malty notes to finished beer, intended for ales, lagers. Intense, malty, sweet, gentle notes of honey and nuts, in parentheses, almond and hazelnut. So that's kind of
Yeah, I
what
taste
they
it.
are saying you would get.
I mean, I don't know. It sounds about right.
Yeah,
Kind of a
sure.
honey.
Yeah, I get an almondy,
little
and
bit malty,
almost
little
into
bit
that
honey,
like
yeah.
that cherry side of almond, kind of like almond, like when there's an almond paste or something. So that is our truest take, almost short of being a smash beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, pretty close. Yeah.
And you said, we haven't gotten to it yet, but you thought that was just a little richer in body than the Oktoberfests
Mm-hmm.
that you brought. Tell us about the Oktoberfest reps in the house.
Sure. So these are some proxy beers. I brought them for people that could not make it. The first one is a slight take on the Brewing Classic Styles Oktoberfest. It's using 2-row instead of pills, but there's a good portion of the Barke Vienna Malt. 1005 beer, so it is going to be drier than the Vienna.
I get a little bit more almost like fall leaf kind of out of both the nose and the taste. There's something a little dry, I don't know. I've never known what to call it other than like autumn leaf. You know what I mean? It's no longer green, but it's not brown or astringent, but it's got kind of like this crispness to it. That could also be, hops and the dryness of the beer. What's the alcohol on it?
6.
What's the
Actually, I don't know. What is it?
I like how you're like, honey, it's just 6. And then you're like, oh, it was 13%.
Because I could have been right. I could have been right. And you'll
This
cut
barley
it
wine tastes pretty good.
It'll perfect. That'll be perfect.
What is your ABV?
I think about 5.5. It was
Okay.
a 1050 down to like 1008. Yeah.
Yeah, about 6.
That's it. Yeah. Do the math in my head.
So and then Nick's is 10 pounds Barke Vienna, 1 pound Munich, 1 Carapils Copper, which I've never heard of. He said he got that at Homebrew.
HomebrewCon,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Breeze had that at HomebrewCon. They
Okay.
came in the bag, actually the bag you get from
Oh, yeah.
HA. You went to the Breeze booth,
Yeah.
and they filled you, or you filled
That's-
it, and you got a bag of it. They also tried to give away a whole sack of it to somebody. I think, who took it? St. Paul, I think, took it.
Yeah. Yes.
They tried to give it away to me, or us, and I have hundreds of pounds of malt in my basement, so I don't want to bring that
Someone in the
over.
club took a huge
What's carrying around
jug
another
of
sack of
extract, though.
Oh, really?
just carried around. It's like just massive jug of
Yeah,
extract.
30 pounds of extra. My arm's tired.
So this is just one hop edition Columbus for bittering in the German Lager X from White Labs. 90-minute mash, 90-minute boil.
It's definitely,
This one's drier and even more bitter. Like,
it's got a lot of hop
we've gone.
flavor
Yeah, it
that the
does.
other two didn't have.
Also noticeable, it's much lighter.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have like that Munich 2 or that Karen
Yeah,
Munich
it's
2.
just
It's
got
just so it's cool to me that because in my head Vienna just to me just screams specialty malt, and you would only use. But here we're already proven, and other beers out there have proven that you can go pretty much single malt with it.
Absolutely.
And if you don't boil it for 3 hours, you get something fairly. That wasn't a knock. I forgot. We do have a beer that boiled for 3 hours coming up, but the idea if you're not going to decoct it, you're never going to get like a Pils
Yeah.
colored beer, but that's way lighter than a beer that I would have assumed
Yeah.
in my misconception of Vienna.
What was the hop schedule
Yes.
on that?
Just Columbus at 60.
How much Columbus?
0.75.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, this is the hoppiest beer so
that's a
far.
fair amount of Columbus.
And I think one thing that's significantly different as well, other than the hops, is that it doesn't have that roasty kind of character, that toasty character that the Munich and the Munich 2 of the previous Oktoberfest give it.
Mhm.
Going back to this one almost seems like a brown ale. It's so.
Oh, you still
toasty.
have some left? I'm glad you could report back. So, yeah, if you want to go Oktoberfest, don't forget the influence of your Munich and your numbered Munichs.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
For sure.
yeah, I would almost call this like Hoptoberfest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except there was a beer called that. New
Yeah.
Belgium will get you. So,
Well,
Yeah.
more like like not so much an Oktoberfest, more like a fest beer, like the
Mhm.
lighter style,
Mm-hmm.
with a little bit of hops.
so now we kind of get out of that territory that you'd expect Vienna beers to kind of be living in, that fest beer, October Vienna Lager, and we got,
Saison.
yeah,
Saison that's effectively half Pilsner, half Vienna. Not traditional for a Saison to have Vienna, but wanted to stretch the legs on the malt a little bit and see what it could do. Other than those two malts, there's a pound of wheat and a little bit of sigillated malt to hit mash pH.
OG 1054, you said about 6, 5.8 ABV-ish.
Yep, this was the yeast that Fermentus brought to HomebrewCon,
Oh, the-
and they were giving away BE 134.
Yeah.
Saison
Man,
DuPont.
that is Belgian-y, that is Saison DuPont-y, actually.
Mhm.
Like, it's got that, almost like that small layer of like peppermint or mint that kind of like lifts everything else up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. You don't get it on the nose, but as soon as you taste it,
Yeah.
it's just like, wow.
I've been waiting to use that yeast packet that I got,
Yep.
and this is encouraging.
I was looking forward to using it, and I thought combine those two things and see what we get. It's certainly dry and bitter. You know, there's a good amount of hops in this, EKG and Styrian Golding.
Mm-hmm.
Dry hopped with them, in fact, too. And it turned out quite bright.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Again, for 50% Vienna.
And with wheat,
Mm-hmm.
you usually get that cloudiness out of some wheat.
Yep. This one took a little while to clear in the keg. When it was first in the keg, it was cloudy, but that cold conditioning dropped all that out, and after a number of pints, it cleared up.
I like that a lot. And that's way a departure than I would have thought some of these would have come in.
Yeah, and I think one thing to note too is the color. That's you know, that was 10 pounds of
Yeah.
Vienna, and it's not dark.
No,
It's got a little hint of a little color, but man, that's pale.
It's a very
That one's-
like Kolschish.
Yeah, the Kolschish are like decocted pills. So we're about to go into like the two kind of like most unusual, uncommon. But tell me, of all of the stuff that people brewed with the Barke Vienna drop that we were able to hook you up with. What are kind of some of the other left field beers that you
IPA.
saw? IPA.
IPA, I think there's a couple IPAs. I think somebody did a pale ale too. Definitely the next one coming up.
Yeah.
Other than that, there were a couple more Vienna lagers. There may have been a fest beer,
Yeah.
so another Oktoberfest, effectively lighter, kind of more
Yeah.
Hellas hopped up.
Hellas on wheels. Is that what you're about to say?
Hellas on wheels, could work.
All
Hellas
right.
on wheel fest beer.
So Carl is up. Carl brought our eccentric entries, which I'm very eager about this one. Tell us about this one. Everything about it is crazy.
Yeah, so actually, of all of the beers, this has the second highest percentage of Vienna, so it's almost all Vienna.
Okay.
With just a little bit of Munich, some Caribbean, just to add a little color. It's got a pound of caramelized honey from Homebrew Con. Went to the Boucher presentation. They talked about caramelizing honey, so I caramelized a pound of honey in the crock pot for 7 hours. Got this beautiful red color. So I stuck that in at flame out, and my mother-in-law's boyfriend roasts his own coffee, so he roasted me a quarter pound of coffee, and so whole beans in the keg for 2 weeks, I think I did, and then I added some vanilla straight into the keg.
Extract or bean?
Extract.
Okay.
Yep.
I like how this says recipe does not conform to the Vienna lager style. Does Brew Toad itself do that when it
Yes.
flags?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't expect it.
It's like just in case you were going for this thing, you missed it.
Yeah. So yeah, I missed it. It's terrible.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
What I love about it is it's got so much intense coffee flavor, but when you think of coffee, you think of black, and it is far from black.
Yeah, and that way it's white stoutish, right? It's
Yeah.
like what you see is not kind of what you
Yeah.
get.
Smells like
That
a cup
honey.
of coffee.
Ooh, but
Yeah.
that honey is in there too.
The honey's in
and
there,
you can taste
definitely.
that it's been cooked.
Yeah.
Not scorched at all, but
Definitely
just.
caramelized, yeah.
Mm.
It's there.
But I think you get some of that same sweetness that you got from your heavy Vienna. This is the second time I made this beer. It's my wife's favorite beer. I made the first time, and when I told her I was making it again, she was like super excited about it. So all that Vienna is most. Look at Aaron's beer, right? His is all Vienna, and it's got very little color. So
Yeah, 50-50 Pils
Yeah.
Vienna, but no Munich, no dark malts at all.
yeah, the Vienna doesn't really add that much color.
No.
It's just a little darker than Pilsner.
Yeah, the color in mine must all come from the small amount of extra. I mean,
Oh, that
black
black?
malt obviously
Yeah.
is
It's
pretty
dark.
dark, but
That melanoidin too.
yeah, but being 1.2% of it.
I'm not
Sugar
complaining
is
about the
just
clarity of
like-
the beer, but it's hard to make a beer clear when you put coffee and vanilla extract in it.
If you're not going to
Coffee.
add something to it, which you might not want.
Well, I
because you
wouldn't
might
want to
strip
try.
all these
Yeah, I
flavors,
don't want to
right?
clarify it and risk the coffee falling out
Yeah.
or the vanilla falling out. So
Oh, that's very like Irish cream kind of tasting, like
Yeah,
between the body
it
of the
does.
honey, the vanilla, and the coffee. But again, you look at it, like that's not what that's
So the
going to
first-
taste like.
the first time I made this beer, it was actually inspired by a family trip to Cancun, and I brought back a pound of honey from Cancun, and the honey in Cancun is known for their stingerless bees, so it's a very special honey. And then I brought back coffee from Mexico, and I made this originally first time with Mexico honey and Mexico coffee. And the best beer I had in Mexico was Indio, which is a Vienna lager. So it's like
Yeah, we were joking about that earlier. How like this beer called Vienna Lager is like, for the most part, is what we consider Mexican lager at this point, and Americans kind of bringing it back to a degree.
you know.
I don't know. Are there a lot of stalwart Vienna brewers in Germany? Austria.
My understanding is nobody makes
Nobody
it there.
makes-
Yeah, I don't think it's
Like,
popular.
It survived
anymore.
in Mexico from
Yeah,
German
if
immigrants.
you,
to
yeah,
Mexico.
if you want authentic Vienna lager, you got to go to Mexico. That may seem weird, but
Yeah.
it's
It's the way it is.
yeah.
All right. So for dessert, we got.
Let me open the.
So it's funny when Carl sent out this recipe for this beer. It's called baby beer, so I'm thinking like Tafel beer, like oh, it's gonna be like a 1.5 or 2% ABV beer,
So it's baby beer because it's a beer for a baby.
right?
So
When it's
well,
9 years old?
It needs
Oh,
to
when it's
it needs to
21.
cellar for a little bit. So I made this beer with a friend of mine. He is a 4-month-old. My daughter was born it'll be 3 weeks tomorrow. So
She's younger than your coffee beer.
Yeah.
she's younger than this
Much.
beer too.
She's younger than most beer.
Congratulations.
I think every
Yeah,
beer
no,
here
she does.
except for maybe
Yeah.
yours.
We have your daughter
beer.
over here. No.
So we made this beer together, and I did a lot of research in like cellaring and making a beer that's supposed to cellar for a long time, and I really wanted to build on both myself and my friend who had a baby, who the beer is for. We both have a lot of German heritage, so I kind of started looking into like, okay, what are styles of German beer that people actually cellar? And that kind of leads you into Adam beer and Doppelsticke Alt. And so I kind of took that as a starting place and then took it to the next level. And I had 3 pounds of the Vienna left over from when I made the coffee beer.
Yeah.
And so I threw that in there. But there's a lot of Munich in this beer.
Okay.
And a lot of other stuff. So.
Well, and you were saying, what did your research say to do to a beer that you intentionally
Yes.
plan to cellar
Yes.
for 5+ years?
Yeah, 5,
20.
15.
Hey, man.
15, my target is 18. We'll see
Yeah.
how it comes along. But yeah, one of the things I read is that a lot of barley wines in particular are boiled for a long time. And I don't know why, but people seem to be convinced that a long boil helps with cellarability. So I was like, well, screw it, we'll do a 3-hour boil. And it was a long boil. So I did 2 hours of boil with no hops, which dropped it a lot. And then I did a 1-hour boil with the other part of this beer is the hops are all super heavy beta hops, so really low in alpha, but really high in beta. So I use Tettinger and Stisel Alt.
What is beta? Is beta more of a long-standing component?
Yeah,
of a
so
hop?
apparently alpha hops drop off really quick, and beta hops start to show up in the
okay.
laters of aging again. Okay, so I took that same level, like let's go as heavy as we can in the beta hops and see if they'll actually stand up.
Honey again.
Yeah.
Same method.
No, well, yeah,
Compost?
it's the same honey. The difference is I boiled this beer, and it ended up I had less beer. I only ended up with like 4 gallons after my 3-hour boil. So I was like, well, I need to bring this beer back up. So I took a pound of honey, and I mixed in with some water, with about a gallon of water, and brought the volume back up again.
So you replaced evaporated water with more sugar.
With more sugar, yeah. Well, that's what you do, right?
Yeah. Hey, make it a big beer. Make it big.
The OG's 1116 final ABV.
Well, I mean,
Something like
yeah.
11.4
Yeah.
on paper.
Yeah,
Which
I-
also says this recipe does not conform
It
to the Dusseldorf alt beer style.
Sure doesn't. All right, so
Doppelsticke Alt.
yeah.
Well,
And you haven't had this
congratulations.
beer yet.
I have not tasted this beer yet.
Here's to all the baby daddies.
So we'll see how this comes out. I think it might be a
Feels
little,
like quite an honor.
a little on the undercarbonated
Try.
side, but that's
Yeah, tell me how, when you do attempt to carbonate something so big, do you re-yeast? Do you force? What do you do?
I re-yeasted and added sugar in very specific measured volumes, but I still think I didn't add enough sugar for the carbonation. But I mean,
How long has it been in the bottle?
it has been in the bottle I bottled it like a week and a half before Greta was born, so it's been in the bottle
5 months.
yeah, about a month, yeah,
5 weeks.
something like that.
Yeah, big beers can take a while to
Yeah.
carbonate, even if you yeast and put the right amount of sugar in.
Yeah, I
It
kept
takes time.
looking at them, like shaking the bottles, seeing how much bubbles came out of it, and hoping for the best. But
It's big.
It is.
That's for damn sure.
It is.
It's kind of.
What was the yeast on it?
so I started with German ale. I think the recipe says German ale, and it was the fermentation was calming down, and it wasn't finishing as low as I wanted. So I wanted to pitch more yeast, and I pitched. I don't even remember what it was. Something I got free for Homebrew. Just tossed it on the hob and hope for the best, and it finished out from there. So I was like, well, whatever that. I think it was an English strain. Yeah, my actual original gravity was 11:05, and the finishing was 10:12.
Dang.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think the honey helped to drop it a lot.
Yeah, I guess. A pound in 5 gallons?
Yeah.
It tastes sweeter than that to me. I'm
Sure,
surprised.
that's the 3
I'm
hour
surprised
boil.
it's that low, but
It's the 3-hour boil. It produces those caramelized things. Reminds me of a barley wine in that regard.
yeah.
It's got that caramely.
Well, that's the idea,
Flavor.
right? Essentially a German-influenced barley wine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's got some like tang though in the back.
Sure.
I mean, it's not bad at all,
It
but
needs
I
time.
could see that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's brewed to be held, I guess there's things that are going to happen that really
Yep.
made this maybe a silly opening. But I
gotta
appreciate
start
you
somewhere.
opening it. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the idea
If
was
nothing else, you can report back like it's not carbonated
Yeah.
yet.
So I wanted to open it just to kind of see where it was at.
Yeah.
And now is as good a time as any to open it to see where it's at. And then the plan is to wax them. So
No,
I wasn't going to wax them if I wasn't happy with where it was coming. So
I mean, this doesn't seem
Yeah.
too far afield from Sammy Klaus, which I, really love. Except it is bright clear because it's literally lagered a year. But you can taste that Munich, that bread, that like red licorice, a little bit of that kind of just like German Christmas cookie kind of thing going on. But it's just, like you said, it's young, it's so cloudy, it's got some like
yeah,
viscosity to it.
it needs to sit for some time.
About,
I like the
about
spicy
17
smell.
years and 11
yeah,
months.
it's got a little bit of time to go. Yeah.
I like the aroma. It's got kind of a spicy,
Mm-hmm.
spiced cookie kind of little raisininess.
Mm-hmm.
Smells really good.
I don't want to say any dumb opinions that Greta will see in 18 years. Assuming there's still internet.
What's going to happen to the internet?
Yeah.
Be wired right in your brain.
Yeah, right.
It's definitely still a little hot, but I mean, you have
I only did that because
Doesn't
you
make
said
you
it, and then all of a
choke
sudden
or
I
anything.
was like, well, let me pull in, let me aspirate a little
Yeah.
over,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, a 12% beer that was made in August. It should,
Yeah, right.
It should be hot.
Oh yeah, right.
If it's not hot,
It's not as hot as it really seems like it could be. Though,
Yeah, absolutely.
For
This could
that
be
exact situation.
Nose
Yeah.
burning. You go, oh, okay.
yeah.
Anything you guys want to say about the commonality between them, since they did have that kind of similar thread through the Barke Vienna?
I notice in the beers that are not crazy, i.e. the ones Carl brought,
I'm sorry I
That-
brought beer.
there is a character that I do attribute to the Barke Vienna Malt, and it's a graininess. It's kind of, I don't want to say raw, but it feels like it's a bit of an unadulterated graininess that is not similar to other more or what do you call those things that are different things within a species, varietals of barley. And it's got a more grain character to it, I think. That's the only thing that I can really pick up distinctly about that malt.
Even into your Saison.
Yeah, it's certainly less. I think
Yeah.
Chad's obviously has more of it because he has more of the malt.
So American yeast, German yeast, we did lager, ale, did coffee and vanilla. It's pretty much something to experiment with. Don't do what I thought and, put it in a corner. Don't put Vienna in a corner, man. With, your Oktoberfest and Viennas and fest beers and Martens. I do love a good fest beer, though, like a 4% take on that kind of Oktoberfest. Yeah, cool. Well, shout out to BSG. Thanks for hooking us up with a grip of Vienna. Thanks to you guys for brewing a bunch of beer.
Yeah.
For pouring it, you guys poured it at a festival a couple of weeks ago.
Yep, the Big River Brew Fest right here in the parking lot of Eastside Neighborhood Services. We poured the Oktoberfest.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, get your Vienna on all year round. Apparently, not just in October.
It works in many beers.
Yeah, cool. All right,
Yeah,
well,
clearly.
I'm empty, which is usually the case. So, chop for chop.
Brew for brew.
Yeah. Woo! Northeast side. All right, I'm trusting you guys to make sure I don't like float out of frame.
That's a little far.
Yeah, it's too
A
far.
little far.